feels like a lot of career energy and really reevaluating what you're doing with your life, what you're doing with your career. Is it correct for you? If it isn't, do you want to end that cycle and move into something new? Hi, this is Denise Matthew. Hope you're doing well. Back again for another week of the transits. So we have a few themes happening this week. We have one that's sort of in the beginning of the week until Wednesday, and then from Wednesday on, we have a different theme. The theme that we're going to be having in the beginning of the week is very much as I spoke about last week in the last transit report. So if you want to have a look at that, you can do that. It is talking to the sun is in the gate 57, and we also have the earth in the gate 51. The 2034 is a very busy energy, which means that whatever you're thinking, you have to start doing. There's potential to want to be a manifester in with this energy, and this is always going to be in response because there is a definition with the 2034 that is bringing the sacral center directly to the throat. So as soon as we have any sacral energy, we're always going to be talking about being in response. So in other words, all this busyness is in response, and as opposed to just going out and doing your thing. And when we get the gate 57, it is truly bringing that awareness to understand where you need to be busy, where you are directing your energy, and that it's going to give a lot more, you could say, direction to where it is actually, you're actually putting your energy and what you're actually doing and why you're doing it and those types of things. So this awareness is potential for anybody who has part of the integration circuit, or even if you've been really busy because of this transit and you just feel like kind of almost frenetic, this can kind of give you a step back where you start to kind of connect with this intuition, or connect with the gate 57, and it's giving you clues as to where you can direct your energy. Anything coming from the spleen is going to have a quick pop, and it's going to tell you something, and it's going to be one and done. And if you don't actually connect with that, it won't come again. And that's the way the spleen works. So it's really a time to, when we have all these splenic gates being transited, the sun going through all of them, we also have Mars going through them and Mercury spending a lot of time in them. It's really a time to connect with that energy for you. How does it work? How does it play out in your life? What are you seeing in the world around you? What are the thoughts that you thought you were going to see? And how does it connect with what you're actually seeing in the real world? What's the difference between mind speak and actual intuition, and we can figure those things out. It does take time and effort, and it does take introspection and retrospection. But when you do that, it is truly a gift that just keeps on giving. So we look at the earth in the gate 51 as initiation or shock or something that kind of shifts your trajectory of life. It kind of changes where you thought you were going. It's one of those moments that kind of knock you back and kind of give you clarity and decide, okay, where have I been going? Why have I been going in this direction? And should I change? I would say that a gate 51 kind of moment for the world was a pandemic, because what I think it did was it put a lot of things in perspective for a lot of people. Some people are exactly the same, but a lot of people are changed, and they'll never go back to the way they used to sort of live their lives. So we could say that was an initiation. It was a very difficult one, something that came out of the blue that nobody expected. And that is sort of what a gate 51 energy is. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It just truly is this concept of just feeling like you can't go on the way you went on before because something has shifted, some kind of reality. It's like one of those things that when you get this clarity about something, you can't go back to the old way that you used to look at it. And on Wednesday, October 13th, we have 3 planets moving. We have Venus is going to be moving out of the gate 34. And I talked about that last week. It's just kind of, I would say it's giving kind of a balance to the very forceful potential energy of the gate 34, kind of bringing it into more of a balanced state. You could say a yin added to it. It's moving into the gate 9, which is going to bring this focus and focus on details, and in a very Venusian way. We also have the sun moving into the gate 32, one more splenic gate, and we also have the earth moving into the gate 42. Now, I think that every time I look at the mandala, I get a little more excited about how it's all laid out and how things kind of play out, because the gate 42 is always followed by the gate 3. The gate 42 is a closing cycle. It is getting whatever you can, reaping whatever rewards that you can from what you've planted, you could say. Sometimes it will be a time where you'll sort of recycle. You'll get a new cycle beginning. So in other words, if you've come to the end of as much as you can do in one way. Now you're going to up level in some way. And you can do that perspective with the gate 42, or you could just close the cycle completely because you just feel that it's finished. So we'll see a lot of potentially things that are going to be closing, especially when it's in the earth, because as soon as we have the earth in play, we are talking about this manifest thing. We are grounding into it. I could say we could say we're grounding into it, but we could also say it's in the manifest world that we will be seeing it happening right now, with all the energy between the 3420, that real busy energy. And we all had a lot of the 32, gate 32 being transited. And the gate 32 is something that we've had with Mercury, and also Venus had already gone through. And it is talking about this idea of trying to get better in your life, to get the best out of life, to get more financial abundance, because it is truly about money and getting more for the tribe, you could say, because it is tribal energy. With the combination of the gate 32 and this need to get ahead, this need to improve, this need to get the recognition for the things you're doing, to get more money, to get more something for for the work that you're doing. And also you have this busyness, so there's potential, like I said before, and I think it's going to kind of resurge again, to just jump ship, to want to get to something new, because we now have the sun in the gate 32, and we're talking about this idea of, I want to have something better now. And it is also about change, and the gate 32, the catch line is the only thing that endures is change. And we know that as a human race, change is always happening. But it's also, how is the change implemented in our lives? Is it something that we're just jumping and we're just changing everything? A lot of times that doesn't work, because it's just too many components, and it's overwhelming, and it's difficult for you to kind of move through it and kind of stick with it. So what a lot of people are doing is, a lot of people are changing jobs and that type of thing. That's the one thing I can really see a lot of happening. People are just wanting to go to different places, doing different things. And that's all good and well if you really do need the change, because I think a lot of people have felt kind of confined because of the last year and a half and what we've all dealt with as a whole collective. And it makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, it's all about looking at it in a way that you're sort of feeling that it's correct for you and that it's the right thing. The thing about the gate 32 is there's always this need to improve as well. So in other words, if you have a business or something like that, this could be kind of up leveling your whole concept of what you're actually bringing to the people. This is also about this energy of wanting to make more money, as I said. And, we're also closing cycles of certain things. So you could see that potentially companies might be closing, and looking at things that potentially you thought were something that you wanted to stick with, but then suddenly you're saying, maybe this is the end for it. I don't want to do it anymore. So we have the gate 32 playing off the gate 42. 42 is closing cycle. So we could see, like I said, a lot of things closing up. So I would say that we're thinking about this, potential in inward feeling of, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Are things working enough? And when we also have Mercury in the gate 48, and Mercury is going to be in the gate 48 until, because it's still retrograde, it will go direct on October 18th, but it's going to be in the gate 48 until October 26th. So we're really playing into this energy of, am I enough? Do I have enough? Am I prepared enough? Can I step out into the world, or do I need to do a little bit more preparation? With this energy, most times you are prepared enough. And if you're not, then you will. Like, this is also a time where you can actually start to collect more of the details. And with Venus in the gate 9, we're talking about this idea of collecting all the data, collecting all the things you need. And we have two powerful format energies that are being activated within this week, which really talks about ending cycles, and then also this idea of putting focus where you want to put the focus. If we combine everything together, the theme is, how can I do better financially? How can I do better abundance wise in my future? And finally, after a long time, it's been retrograde. We also have Saturn going forward. It's in the gate 41. And this is all those goals, because the gate 41 is where Saturn began in January. And it's this idea of, okay, I need to kind of come up with a concept, a goal of something I want to actually bring into this reality. And how far have I gone on that? And this is, Saturn is the task master that really makes us work for everything we get. It's all the hard work that we have to do in order to bring things into the manifest world. And with the gate 41, we know that it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to bring anything into the world. So we're looking at all these things coming together. We're getting the depth for the things that we want to bring into the world because of the gate 48. And also we're getting the details with the gate 9, a format energy. Again, a very powerful thing. And this is focus on and focus off. The gate 32, again, this is the financial perspective of it, and we have all these connections, and it is talking to this idea of trying to get ahead in life, trying to feel like you are actually being valued for what you're doing, what you're bringing to the table. You could say this feels like a lot of career energy, and really reevaluating what you're doing with your life, what you're doing with your career. Is it correct for you? If it isn't, do you want to end that cycle and move into something new? You can decide, do I want to start a new cycle, or do I want to kind of stick with what I am doing right now, but I'm going to up level it in some way? Because ultimately this is about, making the best of what you have in this moment. And if that means that you completely harvest everything and you pick all the fruit, then you can do that. And then you can reseed when the next gate, when the earth goes into the gate 3, which is difficult in the beginning, but it is a beginning. It's where we begin to plant new seeds for the future. Mars is staying in the gate 57 for most of the week. When we hit Saturday, it is going to move in the gate 32. And this is going to add a bit more emphasis on this whole idea of trying to get ahead, trying to get financial gains, trying to kind of professionally do better in your career, to get the advances or to the recognition or whatever that you want from your career or what you do for a living. And if you're not getting it, again, there's potential for you to kind of move on and go somewhere else. So I think that we will have this kind of like need for getting ahead. But I think the nice thing is that with Venus in the gate 9, there's potential to look at it and see that we are building towards our future, and every little step is something that is kind of bringing us closer to where we want to go. This is the one that says the road of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So each step we're taking, we're getting closer to where we want to go. And if we can keep that in mind, as opposed to feeling that we're not getting as much as everybody else and those types of things, then that can sort of help with this energy, because there is a lot of this pressure to be good enough. And when we think about the gate 48, there's the potential to not feel like you have enough and not feel good enough. If we feel like we're getting paid not enough, that it kind of reinforces that feeling of lack and not getting where we want to go. So if we can see that every step we're taking, we're getting closer to where we're moving. And with Mars in there, like I said, by Saturday, that's this potential to want to just jump steps and not kind of take the time to make real change that actually makes a difference in your life. And if you can kind of combat that energy and kind of say, yeah, well, it's going to take time, because everything that's worthwhile in life, it actually does take time to make. And nothing usually just kind of happens overnight. Everything is just one brick at a time. And if we can look at that perspective and know that we are moving in the right place, we are getting closer to our goal, and it's always about comparing yourself to yourself. Where am I now compared to where I used to be? And ultimately, that's the key. It's not about ever comparing ourselves to other people. It's about just walking our path and being our individual self, and seeing that our path is not like anybody else's path, and how we get there is our particular way, and seeing that those are the most important parts of who we are. So the theme for this week is be gentle on yourself, to realize that you are getting closer to the goals that you have set for yourself. You are moving in the right direction. You are getting where you want to go. It may not look like that, especially with Mercury retrograde. Although, like I said, Mercury is going to be going forward soon, but it's still going to be staying in a lot of those same energies, a lot of those same gates, and kind of like a sluggish energy, which is saying, oh, well, are you prepared enough? Do you have everything you need to move to the next step? And yes, maybe people might be taking more courses or more ways to sort of upgrade themselves. I mean, that's potential for sure. And if that feels like it's right for you, that's good. But again, not holding yourself back because you potentially have everything you need. So there's a lot of moving parts. Like some people will be ready to move forward. Some people will feel like they're ready to move forward, but maybe they're not necessarily ready to move forward. But ultimately, if you're actually aligning with yourself, figuring out what works for you, that is the key. The key is always going to be about your individual path, your individual truth, what feels right for you. My truth is not your truth. And we can't conform to other people's expectations of us. If it's worthwhile, if what you want to bring into reality is worthwhile, it's worth putting the time and effort into it. And in reality, the most rewarding experiences of our lives are the ones that were the toughest to actually get there. And this is what it could be saying, that you may not see the results. That doesn't mean they're not coming. It just means that in this moment, you may not see the results. And suddenly everything opens up and we start to see that the patterns are clicking into place. The gate 48 will show us the patterns are starting to work. The gate 32 will allow us to smell something that feels like it's successful, and to steer us clear from the things that are not going to work to our advantage, or are not going to work to better our lives. So we can tap into all the energy, because there's as much as anything, we do have the splenic gates that can talk to this idea of anxiety, fear, but they also do talk to this idea of intuition and kind of guiding us to where we need to go. The universe will open the door. Have the courage to surrender to when the universe opens it for us, or gives us a crack of an idea of what we're going to be stepping into. And it does come. It's one of those difficult things. Waiting is one of the most difficult things we can do, but something will show up. Change will come. It's part of the reality of life. With the sun transiting the gate 32, we know that change is definitely in the air. Change is coming. Things are moving, and we are closing cycles, but we are also just on the precipice to starting new cycles as well. Because of that, if we can sort of hold on to that concept, life is continuing to move forward, even though it doesn't feel like that. And with Jupiter is going to start going forward on the 18th. Saturn's a hard work, and Jupiter's like the kind of exuberance or the energy that kind of makes us feel like, yes, maybe we are going to be okay. Maybe we're going to get ahead in life and things are going to start to unfold the way we want them to. That's it for the week. I hope you have a super week, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye for now.